So playing against this engine here, don't know how to pronounce this, and I guess I'm gonna go for knight f6 as well here. I'll add it to play without opening book or table bases. This is somewhat incorrect here. What means somewhat? I guess, I mean, on ccrl this engine is rated 1836 or something, but I guess all those engines are a bit underrated. So I will give it a rating of around I don't know, 2000. I have to test it against Shallow Blue later on. So let's see, we have those two knights with the move e3. I guess I could go knight d7 and push e5, and if he goes there, or should I develop the bishop first? So there are choices here. I mean, very solid would be knight d7, I guess, but it's probably gonna go d4 anyway, but then I might have c5 in the future. So I guess, I mean, it's not the most aggressive way of doing things, I have to admit, but I guess I'm gonna do it. So I'm expecting, yeah, this exactly. So now I can go c4, but then I might have to face knight b5 or bishop b5 in some lines. I can go a6, bishop e6, I can go a6, c5, and I'm not that sure about. I guess I'm gonna go, I have time, it's a slow kind of thing, and I'm not probably able to refute this stuff. I want to restrict that knight's movement. So I can go a6, c5, and e6. I mean, this is probably c5, and if takes, I have knight takes going into e4. I mean, c5 is probably the most principled way to do things. e4 is not on. Bishop d3. Well, if I go a3, he's gonna go bishop d3, e4. That's something he can do probably. So if I go here and he goes there, I don't really care. Then I have e6 and bishop d6. So I guess I go with c5. Pawn takes, knight takes. The d pawn is sufficiently covered. And I'm probably gonna go e6 next. So this was the reason why I played knight d7 in the first place. Probably not the most challenging approach to this. Yeah, bishop b5. So I guess I'm gonna go e6, and if he takes now, I can go bishop takes. He wants this, so I can clarify the situation in the center, but then his bishop might come out on a different diagonal. I can ask the bishop a question by going a6, and if it's going back, I've included a6, and I can go bishop d6, and I can go bishop d6 immediately, but then he takes on c5, gets a tempo on the bishop. So I guess I'm doing this. Yeah, okay, it takes. So I guess I should probably take it with the bishop. Yeah, bishop takes, because queen takes is probably not that great. Although bishop takes knight e5, well, if he takes that bishop, it's not so bad. I guess I can take, I mean, I can, well, I can also take it with the knight. Go b5, trying to fianchetto the bishop, but I think I'm gonna, I don't know. I mean, knight takes looks counterintuitive. So queen takes knight e5. At least I gonna save the bishop. But I think I'm gonna go with the normal move. Although knight e5 is a bit annoying. Although I can take, go bishop b5 and rook c8. And if he takes my bishop, it's not that bad. So I guess I'm gonna take and go bishop here. bishop b5. I don't know, he has bishop d2. Should I wait for stuff for this bishop to go to b2? But if I go rook c8, he's just gonna castle, and then I don't have that pin anymore. So either I take it, bishop b5, bishop d2, bishop takes, knight e5. It's the bishop back. I guess takes, and rook here might be a bit more precise, because then I have bishop d3 if I want. I can take bishop here. Bishop b5, bishop d2 takes, and bishop b5, but then he has a4, so that's also not gonna be that easy for me. And I don't want to open up this bishop, but it's a flank pawn for a center pawn, so I guess it's not that bad. I can go bishop d6 or bishop b4. Ah, right, he's doing queen takes, but that's... You have bishop c5 and other stuff. So rook c8, probably normal developing move. Add some pressure on the c file. Bishop d2, bishop c5. Most probably queen g2 castles, h4, h6 at some point. So I'm gonna go here, bishop d3. Right, queen c2, he's gonna take it, but then I have knight takes. But the thing is, I'm not sure what... Well, if the knight takes, I have access to the e4 square. I can hit the queen again. So I guess queen c2, f4. Well, can maybe do such things, but it's not that easy. If we can get rid of that bishop, it might not be that terrible. I mean, I can also just castle, but I actually want him to clarify his stuff. If f4, might as well stay in the center, so he takes. Well, of course, knight takes. Knight f6. Knight takes coming into e4. I have other ideas as well. b5, b4, hit the knight. Well, actually, I'm gonna take with the knight. I'm pretty solid. So e4 could be a break for him if I'm not careful. So b5, e4, b4. Or should I hit the queen first? Something like knight to the e4. But knight e4, queen e2. Not that sure what I achieved. Queen e2, h5, f4, knight here, h6. I can go bishop d6 to add pressure to the h2 pawn. And then bishop e5 to hit the knight. And if the knight moves, I take the rook. So this, and he goes f4. I might have g5. It could become pretty interesting, this game. But bishop here to bishop e5, hitting the knight. Takes, rook takes. So I guess I'm doing this. Bishop d6 to bishop e5. And if f4, I might even consider g5. e5 is unfortunately not working because the d-pawn is hanging. I have knight c5, or I have g5. g5 takes, gets rid of his weak pawn, but I get the open g-file. What can I do with it? Not that much. The h7 pawn would be hanging as well, so I can get a tempo on the queen e2, and then push g5 maybe. Okay, I have a pleasant position here, I have to say. Nothing to worry about. Backwards e-pawn. Knight f6 is not that great. g5 takes. I can go here with a check. I mean, knight c5 looks not that bad. Although he's just moving the queen back. But knight c5, he moves the queen back. I have e5, he takes this with the knight. And g5 is also double-edged because my king is in the center. But g5, I don't know, takes, check with the queen. Knight coming into f6. After he takes on h7, I have king e7, but I don't want to do such things against an engine, so I am doing this. He takes, I take here with check. Not even this is so clear, so I mean, I can go f5, but I guess the most normal move is knight here to there. First I'm gonna kick the queen, and then I put f5 and castle. And if b5, my knight can come here. So knight here, and then queen e7, f5. Yeah, I guess I can wait with castles for a little bit longer. Because f5, if I take with the pawn, my rook on f8 would not be that bad. So castles f5, e5, no. Castles, well, f5 he loses the h2 pawn with the check. I have to cover this pawn anyway, and what can... g4, okay. Okay, he pushes g4 right away. So, how can I deal with this? g5, f5. I mean, I can push f5, and if it takes, he's kind of repairing my structure, and I can get the rook. But here, and he pushes f5, he loses the h-pawn. I mean, I'm not that sure if that's so terrible. f5 is a nice move to consider. I mean, I can also go with b5, try to get b4 in. I mean, I have another crazy idea. I don't think I'm worse here. I mean, I can go queen c6, b5, b4. My knight is kicked. I'm not sure, but I can come here. So, I mean, it's a decision what to do. Probably f5, knight here. I can also go rook d8, but then f5 maybe for him. f5, bishop takes h2. I mean, I should probably go f5 myself, put the knight in the center, and play the rook to d8 later. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it could probably also be kind of a mistake, but my e6 pawn is hard to attack, so this should be, if takes, I am quite happy, because he opens up well, I can take with the pawn, which was my original idea. So I have to take with the rook. No, b5. Well, b5. I can go back with the knight to f6. I mean, I can also go to e5. I mean, I can go there. Takes, queen takes is not that great for me. e5 takes. Problems are mounting. Well, I have only this square, so now this pawn is sufficiently covered. So I guess I go knight f6. And g5 here is somewhat nice. So knight b6 to c4. I mean, it could hit the bishop a bit, but I mean, a5 is also not completely out of the question. But what does it do? I mean, takes, I don't have bishop takes, because, well, a5 takes, I don't know. I mean, if he takes, I get my bishop to c5, that's not so bad. So e5, he's probably taking this at some point. So where should my, I mean, I can go queen d8 to h4 and rook h5. What is he doing? I mean, a3 is was a little bit slow. He still can't move the knight, and if he ever pushes e5, for example, I go there, he pushes e5, I go rook h5, he takes, and I go queen h4, rook f2, rook f2, rook f2. So rook f2, queen g8. So okay, I have 14 minutes to figure this one out. So queen d8, e4, rook h5, pawn takes d5, queen h4, rook f2. Takes, knight takes. I'm not so happy with this position, actually. First, I probably need the knight covering the e4 square, or prepare the move d5 myself. But how to do this? I mean, I can go knight b6, e4. It could probably be pretty annoying. So what about starting with rook h5, e4, queen d8? What about going for a draw, maybe? Like queen d8, e4, rook h5, pawn takes d5, rook takes h2, king h2, queen h4 check. I mean, it's not that clear. Currently, after e4, I can take it. I'm not really even. I want to go e5. I probably should go knight f6, and if e4, then I can take it. And knight f6, bringing this knight to the king side, is not that terrible, and preventing e4. Well, I mean, I think I have prevented it. e4, I can take it. Knight takes. So rook here. Could go a5, takes and king there, queen there. It's not so simple. Knight here is not that great, I think. Knight takes, pawn takes, queen takes. That's not good. So a5 takes, bishop c5. not even this. What about knight there? Rook g2 hits the knight. Unfortunately, he wants to go rook g2 anyway, and this pawn could probably need some more cover. So if I go queen c6, rook g2, e5, queen c6, I mean, what else? Queen c6, b5, can just take it. That's not gonna be good for him. If he just ignores it, for example, queen c6, rook f1, e5 takes, I have bishop takes, and I can take the rook as well, so actually that's not that bad. So if I go I think queen c6 and e5 is the right way of doing things. Also I get some more control over the e4 square. So rook here, he e5 anyway. e5 hits the queen, pawn takes, bishop takes is nice. e5 he goes back. That's not what he wants, I think. So I'm gonna go e5, hitting the queen. The queen only has one square. Takes is out of the question because, well, he can take, and after bishop takes, go here, or he goes there immediately, hits the rook. So rook h2, rook h2 or e4. e4 might be something for him. I mean, e4, queen back, e4, queen back, but then I actually want him to take it. I mean, I can also go knight here now, go after the knight, and if knight takes, pawn takes, queen b6 check. Okay, that's not so great. It's also not that terrible. I guess I should go push it and then continue from there. I mean, gaining some space. I mean, I don't want to lose the rook. The other idea is go rook h5 and push d5 to kick the knight, and if takes, takes, queen takes. I don't think that's good for me. First of all, the rook is hanging. So I have two choices. Either to push e4, which is kind of safe. He has problems with his queen. Or rook h5. Rook h5, e5, e4, d4, knight e4, or knight back. It doesn't even matter. I think, I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna go with this. I'm gonna go with this. So queen here, probably. And now what? Now what? So a5 is not so terrible. The bishop needs to cover the knight. I can go g5. g5, and if he takes, well, his rook is covering this pawn. My rook covers the e-pawn. I have 3 defenders. He only has one attack. I can go back with the bishop to b8 or to b6, to c7, to b6. Well, if I go queen back, bishop c7, what is he doing? What is he doing? I mean, just threatening bishop b6. I guess that's a huge threat. Going there to b6. Where is he going? What is the queen doing? Bishop here. So how on earth are you saving the queen now? Okay, you get some room for it. You get some room for it. That's why you pushed the king aside, but I win a pawn here by playing takes with the pawn. Takes. I'm just gonna grab it, right? Although it's not that simple. Well, grabs queen here. Yeah, that's something he can do. So what about e5? It covers the pawn, and if he takes it, I can push with a check. e6, he gives a check. I go to h8. It's not bad. And he can't use anything. The d pawn is covered enough. Yeah, this was kind of expected, but now what? Moving the knight back. Moving the knight back. Right, so he's completely on the defensive. If ever he takes, I can push. And if I push immediately, trying to kick the rook, well, actually that's pretty nice. Still, I don't have to do it. I mean, takes check is good. And if I push, hits the rook, I could take it. I could take it with the pawn. I mean, don't screw this. I can also go knight f5. Knight, takes pawn, takes bishop, takes. That's not that great. But knight here. His rook is a good defender, but he kind of has problems on the back rank now. And he wants to go knight here. I don't even know what he wants. This is such a bad position. I can go straight in a better endgame, or I can do something else here. I can do something else. I could take rook takes. Rook takes f4. And then push with a check. Rook f4. Pawn f4. I can go d3. Hit the rook. So rook g2 might be his only way of continuing this a bit. But then I don't have rook f4. So what about rook f4 immediately? Rook f4, pawn f4. And then d3, he takes, I get the rook back with vengeance. Well, this would probably be mate. So rook f4. It doesn't matter, he has rook g2 in all those lines. So there is rook f4, pawn f4, d3 check, and I get the bishop if I want to. Or I just play c3, d3. d3 is probably something good. d3 is something good. d3, d3, d3. I mean, rook f4 is interesting to say the least. But d3 and just takes the c-pawn, hitting the knight, threatening the promotion. I mean, what is he doing? Pawn here. Rook g3, pawn takes, hits the knight, knight moves, I promote. That's actually not the end of the story, because he can take it, hit the queen, and although I can get it with a check, would end up having only a rook. But his rook won't be there. Probably it's here. I mean, d3, if you don't go... Well, I mean, why thinking? This is just the best move. Takes, check. Takes, check. Rook g2. Yeah, rook g2. I don't know if this was so great. I mean, I don't know exactly. He's now threatening to just take this pawn. And I don't have a way of exploiting this pin. I mean, a sensible way of doing things. I mean, I can go there. Knight f2 and rook. And I can also go there. Well, if I go here, he takes the pawn, defends this. So I'll probably go here. Keeping an eye on the pawn. This pawn is covered. My pieces are stronger and I'm up 2 pawns. Okay, wow. This wasn't that nice. Should have gone here immediately. But still, I mean, I blundered this move, unfortunately. But it's still not that clear. Hits the rook. So I have 4, he has 4, it should probably be pretty dry. Well, d3 wasn't that great. Fortunately, I should have kept it. His pieces were at bay. Yeah, well, takes a knight e5. Right, so I have to play quick. Anyway, so he goes back. Right, so takes. It's the rook. Oh, I have back rank issues. I have to take this into consideration. So I should probably start with something like h5. Yeah, I should probably start something like h5. So I have 6 minutes left. So he's up. He's attacking this pawn, which is currently pinned. And that spells disaster for me. I'm in complete defense now. I mean, rook f1. Rook here threatens mate. So I have to go there. Well, the bishop hangs, so fair enough. Okay, that was kind of a good game. Right, so I think I was better here. Yeah, e5 was great. That must be winning for me. This simply must be winning for me. So let's just ask Stockfish. Not Shallow Blue. Shallow Blue has no clue. So let's ask Stockfish about this position. I mean, it should be much better for me. A -6, Queen b3, King h8, Knight d1, and now g5 for d3. But I pushed. I'm still up. Takes rook g2, and this gives everything away. Yeah, the only blunder of the game, just going to d5. Yeah, that wasn't that great. Allowing knight f2. Right, anyway, thanks for watching. See you next time. Ciao.